Summary of Miss Julie by August Strindberg. On the evening of Midsummer's Eve, Christine, the cook for the Count, is frying something in the kitchen of his manor home. Jean, the servant, comes in and stops her. Jean tells Christine that their boss, Miss Julie, is acting like a crazy person. Miss Julie's father, the Count, is away visiting family, but Julie has, for some reason, decided to stay behind and enjoy midsummer with her staff. She is now asking many of them to dance with her. Christine says that Miss Julie has been acting strangely ever since she broke up with her boyfriend. Jean says that the engagement ended because Julie tried to use a whip to train her boyfriend like a dog. Miss Julie stops Christine and Jean because she wants Jean to dance with her. Jean tells Miss Julie that they already danced together earlier in the evening, and if they did it again, the maids would probably talk about it. Jean gives in though, and goes with Julie to the dance. Christine cooks and cleans the kitchen after Julie and Jean leave. Jean comes back in and tries to get Christine to dance with him, but Julie is right behind him, continuing to flirt openly and being upset that Jean already knows so much about Christine. Christine falls asleep next to the stove, so Julie tells Jean to take off his servant's clothes and come have a drink with her. Even though Jean tries to stop her, Julie tells Jean to kiss her foot and drink to her health. Julie calls Jean an aristocrat because he knows how to speak French and drinks good wine. Julie tells Jean that she had a dream where she climbed to the top of a slippery column and didn't know how to get down. She says that being close to Jean helps her climb down. Jean, on the other hand, says that in his dream he is trying to climb a tall tree, but he can't reach the first branch because it is too far away. Julie asks Jean if he's ever had a romantic relationship. He says that when he was young, he was crazy about Miss Julie. Jean was working in the yard one day when he saw a Turkish gazebo, which was an outhouse that had flowers all over it. Jean went inside to get a better look because of how pretty it was, but she soon heard someone coming. Jean had to run through the poop at the bottom of the outhouse and out into the rose garden because she was trapped. There he saw Julie for the first time, and he was immediately taken by her beauty. The next Sunday, Jean put on his best clothes and went to see Julie one last time. He planned to then go home, sleep in a bed full of deadly elderflowers, and kill himself. Julie is touched by Jean's story, so she asks him to take her rowing on the lake. Jean tells Julie to go to sleep because he can't be responsible for his actions or how they affect Miss Julie's image. Soon, Miss Julie and Jean hear a group of workers coming toward them. They are afraid that they will be found together, so they run into Jean's room. Jean tells Julie that he will protect her from the mob as they leave together. Before they leave, the maids sing a song and dance around the kitchen. Jean and Julie go back into the kitchen. It sounds like they just did something sexual. Jean says that the workers will find out what happened between them and that their only choice is to leave the country. Jean will be able to start a hotel, which has been his lifelong dream, and Julie can be his housekeeper. Julie gets upset and starts pleading with Jean to tell her he loves her. As Julie gets more upset, Jean gets rougher and more serious. Julie says that she doesn't have any money of her own and that they need money to open a hotel. Jean tells her that the plan is off if that's the case, and that they must stay on the Count's land. Julie can't hold it together because if she stays, she'll have a bad name as Jean's concubine. Jean doesn't care about Julie, and he makes things worse by calling her a whore and telling her that his story about the Turkish tent was made up to make her feel better because she is a woman. Julie is shocked, but she thinks that she deserves it because she was attracted to Jean in the first place. Jean asks Julie to run away again with him. Julie tells Jean about her childhood as a reaction. She tells him that her mother was a highly independent woman who taught Julie to believe in equal rights for women and free love. The liberal ideas of her mother made their family a joke and put them in debt. When Julie's dad finally took over the estate, her mother got sick and their farm burned down for no apparent reason. Julie's mother told her father to borrow the money to rebuild from a builder, who turned out to be her mother's lover and ran off with their money. Julie says that, like her mother, she was raised to dislike and hate men. Jean thinks Julie's story is disgusting and tells her that she and her family are sick. Julie begs Jean to tell her what to do as she sobs that she wants to die. Jean tells her to get ready to leave and go to her room. Christine comes in and tells Jean he needs to clean up the kitchen. She also reminds him that they agreed to go to church together. Jean tells Christine that he and Miss Julie slept together, and Christine is mad at him for both being unfaithful and using Julie. She thinks she can't stay in the house any longer. Suddenly, a bell rings upstairs, telling everyone that the Count is back from his trip. Midsummer's Eve is over when Christine leaves as the sun rises. Julie comes back, all set to go on a trip with her yellow canary. She begs Jean to run away with her, and he agrees, but only if they leave the canary behind. He offers to kill it if they don't. Julie cries that the canary is her only friend since her dog ran off with the gatekeeper's pug, but she lets Jean chop off the canary's head. When Julie sees the dead bird, she screams at Jean to kill her too. She yells that she wants all men to be covered in blood and that she wants to drink from Jean's open head. She says that she will stay and tell her father everything, which will kill him out of shame and end her family. When Christine comes back in, Julie begs her to keep Jean away from her. Christine rudely refuses, but Julie keeps going, telling Christine that the three of them could run away together to start Jean's hotel. Christine tells Julie she's wrong for believing a lie. She leaves, telling the stable boy that if they try to run away, he should stop them. Julie, who is stuck and scared, asks Jean what he would do in her place. He tells her that, as a noblewoman with a bad name, there is only one thing she can do. Julie takes Jean's freshly sharpened razor and cuts the air twice, pleading with Jean to help her keep her father from being embarrassed. Jean is frozen because she heard the Count ring the bell. Jean has no power when his boss is around, and he feels himself falling back into his menial role. Jean screams at Julie to leave, saying that her presence makes him weak and gives up. Julie asks him to play the part of the Count and tell her what to do. Jean says something to Julie in her ear. Julie asks him if he'll forgive her for what she did. Jean says he can't tell her and doesn't have the energy to tell her again. When the bell rings twice, Jean tells Julie in no uncertain terms to leave him. Julie walks out the door with determination, and the viewer is left to assume that she kills herself.
About the author. Strindberg was born on January 22, 1849, in the Swedish city of Stockholm. August Strindberg was a popular Swedish writer, poet, philosopher, and painter. Strindberg's work lasted almost 50 years, and he wrote 60 plays, many of which were based on his own life. Strindberg tried out many different types of theater throughout his time. Strindberg is known as one of the fathers of naturalistic drama, along with his contemporary Henrik Ibsen, for plays like The Father and Miss Julie. However, in later plays like Dream Play and Ghost Sonata, he turned to expressionism and surrealism, which were influenced by his growing interest in the occult and the way his own mind worked. Strindberg's theatrical work is mostly about class, property, and capitalism. This is because he lived in poverty as a child and teen. Between 1894 and 1896, Strindberg had a series of nervous breakdowns. This time is known as his Inferno period. After this, he focused more on psychological and spiritual theater and asked bigger questions about God and the soul. In Sweden, Strindberg is seen as the father of modern Swedish writing, and his book The Red Room is often called the first modern Swedish novel.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.